Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Threadlings, a filmmaking production diary. I am your host Miguel Ortega, and this is my co-host Tran Ma.
Hello, everyone.
How's everybody doing? Let's see if anybody's in today. Um, let's see.
There's Ruben.
Ruben is here. What's up,
Hello.
guys? So this week we've been crunching through this thing, trying to get this thing moving forward. The big thing for us this week was a continuation of the sound stuff that we were talking about last week in terms of the music. So we have more progress on that. Um, Getting more gear ready because we're going to be recording the cast in the next few weeks. And then just making sure that these rigs are ready to go into production, which has been a serious pain in the butt to just get them over the end zone. So yeah, it's been a pain in the butt. So let's see who's here. Ted, what's up? Bobby R, hey man, and Junkyard Carnival from Chicago. What's going on?
That's a nice name.
Junkyard Carnival.
Yeah, I do actually like it.
Yeah, it's cool. Uh, so the main thing for me is just getting the rigs to be working and the faces and everything. So this is like just old mocap that we just pulled out from the voice in the hollow. This is just a completely random mocap for the face and the body. They're not connected in any way, but just seeing how they work together. So this is caught so that you can see like the inner penetration of the hands and stuff like that. Like all that stuff has to be fixed, and the clothing is not simulated right now at all. So this is just like the temp weighted version that is just basically to kind of visualize the size of his head and everything, but it would all be simmed, which this is not. But you can see the face is it's all animated now, which is great.
Yeah. For us, it's like seeing that is just, I don't know, it's always nice. Even though it doesn't have like the shading and stuff like that, it's just, I get excited.
Oh yeah, because you're like, okay, uh, it's coming to life. The thing that we like the most about this is this was the exact same motion capture test that we did on Koa on the Voice in the Hollow, and we went back and played that clip, and it felt like it was a completely different performance, even though it's the exact same performance. All of a sudden, here he looks all cute and shy, and in the Koa one, she's still shy in that one, but it just felt like a completely different mocap session, which is a testament to how good these guys did the face shapes to make them feel like its own individual character and the character as a whole. The work Tran has done on getting the costume and the face to feel cute. So yeah, super happy about that. So got
Can you show it? Because the wireframe makes the teeth look all black. I know you lose the eyes.
do what?
Like, can you show it without the wireframe? The other thing you can do is just kind of fill, uh, like feel the pupils with something so you can see the direction. You can really see like his expression. Like I really like his nervous smile because it feels so much like him. Is the teeth moving on this one? It is, right?
They might not be on this one.
Okay.
We've been having some issues, but I could get that to work really quickly. Um, so the issue we're having is the mocap breaking the rig. So everything is connected through the connection editor in some crazy way, but I could fix the teeth pretty quick. I mean, the thing that kind of sucks is I've already done this like a freaking quadrillion times, and every time we have to make a change, we have to go back in and
It just looks so tedious. Also, like,
Yeah, the teeth are now connected.
they were connected yesterday.
Yeah, but that's yesterday.
Now they're connected.
Yeah.
He's so goofy. He's like, looks so nervous.
And again, like the interpenetration, this is because.
Oh, you mean on the clothing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Clothing has to be simmed.
Yeah.
So like we don't want to like frame shots with like naked characters because the characters feel so different without their clothes.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at that and look at this. This looks like the Emoji Movie. It's so terrible. And then you look at that, and he's like a cute little guy. The costume is the character.
Yeah, it's really such a huge part. Yeah, he looks so weird. Like he's not cute anymore.
So that's caught, and then let's just take a look at some of these other ones. So the professor. Let's take a look at this. And apparently, we found out that I have to redo this because the way it was connected is breaking something else that makes it hard for. Not hard. It breaks the face rig, like the actual controls. So all of this has to be redone again, which is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
But here we could see the same exact performance on the professor. This is just on the face.
That's the same exact face.
This is the exact same performance.
That's so crazy. They're like so different.
It doesn't feel like it, right? Like here you're like, oh, he's like this cranky guy.
Can you do it without the wireframe? Because I wonder how. I just want to see how well the man those forms read really really well. Like the brow and all the. And there's no like displacements, nothing like that. There's no texture or anything. It's all geometry.
So this guy has a little gap in his teeth.
He looks so funny. They're all like, he's so serious, but he's so goofy. I remember in designing it, like making that collar. I just thought it was funny. and then the little balls on the sides of his head.
Yeah. So this is a little technique that I didn't know. It's so stupid. Once you know, it's so simple. But on the voice in the hollow, I loaded up a clip reader, which is what drives Mocap X, and there's no button to disable it, which is really annoying. So you would always have some kind of animation playing, and you're like, I don't want the face to move at all for just while I'm like looking at something else, right? So if you create a second clip reader and you just don't link anything, it just disables the face. So if anybody's using Mocap X, this is a good solution. So is clip reader and clip reader 1, you can see the first clip reader just does not have anything there, and this one does. So the minute you go to that one that doesn't have anything, the face just defaults to just the neutral.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now we could go back to this. And what's great is like you could see how quick we could change the performance. If I were to come over here and go to mocap, or actually let's go to like shots. Let's see, like if I come over here, I'm trying to find a cool shot. Let's see. Whole. So I could just, oh, should have been there. Just going to replace the mocap, and I'm not seeing it, which is, let's see. Okay, so here's like a bunch of different performances. So I could just press this, and you could see this is the performance of Allah telling the anteater to shut up. So let's just swap this out. Go find another one. Baba, look. I know this is a long one, so we could probably pop this in there. But you could see this is her saying, Baba, look. All the performance just immediately updates right away. So all of this is captured with the iPhone. We have a really nice helmet that we use. So that's capturing all the performance. It's using Mocap X on Mac iOS, and then it's giving you an MCPX file that then you could bring in here and load up, and that's how we're getting that performance there. Pretty cool though, huh?
Very cool.
So yeah, so that's the professor, and then we're having some issues with Mayo. I'll show you.
There's an interesting question here. I was watching The Voice in the Hollow and wondering if you're going to do the Olympic pipeline again or switch to FPS.
That's a great question. We're still figuring that out. I think we'll figure it out when we get to it. If we could avoid the Alembic pipeline, and if we could bring in an FBX and it maintains all the deformers correctly,
Yeah.
then we would use that.
I mean, looking at like just the hell that you have to deal with when you're putting together the rig, it seems very difficult. And if you had to do that again, I don't know. Or if it breaks in there just could be issues.
Yeah, I just honestly, I have very little faith that what am I saying? That the rig is just going to transfer over correctly because there's so much stuff here. So if we have to do Olympics, that's fine. But hopefully it won't be Olympics. But anyway, so this guy, you could see his eyes are breaking, and that's what we're trying to figure out what is going on there. So that's that issue, and then let's see. Like I could come over here and like load up. Let's set this to none. I could like import a mocap fighting scene. And I could immediately have him be doing the stuff. Again, the mocap is not cleaned up at all. And the clothing is not simulated, so you can see like his pants are like totally shearing like diapers there. Like
Yeah.
MC Hammer pants.
So we do definitely have to do some alembic with the cloth because we are going to stick to using Marvelous again for that. Because it looks good and we have that pipeline down. And normally the clothing on the alembic caches are not really that big. I think for me, a concern would be dealing with hair cache. That would be like ginormous.
Yeah.
Which in Mayo does have hair. He's the only character with an actual groom.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. Oh, you know what would be interesting to show? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show some other stuff here. We didn't show any of Sasha's stuff, did we? No.
No, I thought we were gonna bring her on.
Yeah, but we could bring her on and show it then as well.
Yeah, you can show like the screenshots. I think that's fine.
Yeah. So let me show you guys a few things here. So me see if I could zoom in here. And let me pull this up here. So this is one of the other characters, and what's cool about this one is this is textured by one of the students at Gnomon, who did an amazing job, and she's going to be a guest in a few weeks, Sasha. And you could see Tran modeled it. So he's the Thread Tempest. He's like the messiah of their world, and he's born from a red crystal, whereas everyone else is born from a blue crystal. He's the only Threadling born of a red crystal. So you could see the progress on him, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Very, very great sense of design she has. I really like her aesthetic. Like, I mean, Miguel and I went back and forth in different directions. Like, if you see in the previous stream, what Zort should actually look like. So we have versions where he looks more like a cartoony bully, and then we went with this version, and but that was that. Like, we just knew that he was going to have red, and we were like, here's Sasha, make it red, but make it interesting. Just a great sense of design.
Look at what Ruben is asking. He goes, "I thought Mayo was born from a different crystal." Ah, the story has evolved, my friend. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're paying attention.
Yeah, there was something like
There
that.
was a point where Mayo was. The story has changed dramatically in the past year, and that's partially why it's been taking longer to kick off. Is I don't think we had the story fully locked. That's why we took some time off to like really nail it. But yeah, you could see
And this character wasn't there. So if you
this
guys,
character wasn't even here. Yeah.
we're like, let's make it this guy.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super happy with how he's looking. We want him to look ethereal, but also really creepy. And he probably has it's for having a face that looks so kind of simple. He has the widest range of character changes. So he's pretty awesome. So
Yeah, and his design was intentionally simple for his face because he could be cute. He's got little rabbit teeth, so he's kind of rabbit-like, but it also a simple face like that can get very menacing.
it's creepy as hell, his face.
Yeah, his face is it's weird.
But we wanted him to be like the rich kid that has everything that that everyone else wants to punch in the face. That's kind of what we want. What we didn't want is for him to be like a bully type character or anything like that. So he is
the fire crystal.
The fire crystal, the Thread Tempest.
She'll talk about her process more.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see like he's got flames on the side of his head, and then even the hat is like it has his fade up like as if it was fire.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and those are things that she just did on her own, which was really nice. Yeah, someone has to be the nerd.
Someone has to be the nerd. We agree that someone has to be the nerd, but
he's not a nerd.
No, he's not the nerd. What I didn't want in this project, there's something about it that just irritates the crap out of me. Is like the bullies, like the cartoony bullies. Like I've never been a big fan of the bullies, and you know some of them have been done right. You know, Biff is great in Back to the Future, and Harry Potter has Malfoy, and they're great. But I just didn't want to do it. Every time we kept writing a scene with the bullies, it always felt
really corny,
like a TV from the 80s. Yeah.
So he's definitely not a bully.
No.
They're just like different. Like he's the coolest, most important person in the colony. And Cot is the lowest ranking. I don't think they even associate.
So pretty much our movies is not about the cool kid, even though the cool kid exists. Ours is about the two rejects.
Yeah.
So, So that's what I've been focusing on. So my goal is by Monday to have these stupid rigs just completely bulletproof and ready to go. because we have to move on. And then the sound thing has been a huge thing. So we bought a sound booth. We bought these beautiful Newman TLM 103 mics, which are like the best mics for voiceovers.
Maybe you can show them too, like the booth and all that stuff.
I did show it before, but
Like last week, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I'll show it again. But it's basically this thing, and it just closes up, and you fit underneath it, and this becomes like this closed off space. It sounds great in there. It feels weird when you step into it. So
You stick your head in it.
yeah, so we're doing all we did all the casting already. So we're going to be recording the actors in the next few weeks. We're trying to figure out where we're going to do it. Are we going to do it at Gnomon, or are we going to do it at Rideback, which is Rideback is the company that did what did they do? They did the Lego movie. They did
They did it.
they did it. They're doing Avatar, The Last Airbender for Netflix. So it's a big company, and we're part of their writing program there. So they are being really cool and letting us borrow some space to use. So Gnomon is awesome as well. So they have amazing space. So one or the other, but we're going to be recording that in the next few days, and we just wanted to have all the gear. We don't like to rent anything. We like to own everything.
Yeah, because it comes down ultimately, you don't really save that much money renting stuff, which is an interesting thing.
Especially because we make iterations throughout the entire process. We constantly are like, let's make it better. Let's make it better. How can we improve it? Let's re-record it. And we were actually thinking about going out to a big actor for the voice of Shrog, the professor, and we chose not to do it, partially because of that, because we didn't want to be confined with like, we have him for 4 hours and we better get it, and after that we can never get him again.
Yeah, you lose like the flexibility in the filmmaking.
Yeah, so we
So-
wanted to be able to redo that.
Yeah. So if anyone is in the audience is ever thinking of like making your own short or your own film, definitely weigh the cost of like rentals versus actually owning it.
Oh, I'll tell you another thing that really screwed us. This all of this was dealt with this week is when I went to retarget the skeleton for the professor. I got caught all working, it was fine. And then I go to this guy, and then we realize, wait a minute, this thing can't retarget if there's a missing arm. It needs it to be symmetrical. So the rigger had to go back and add the hands and get everything to be symmetrical, even though there's obviously nothing there, but this is properly rigged now. And that's the only way that we could get the mocap to transfer correctly, which was a pain in the butt. So, but yeah, all of that's stuff that we just didn't know. I'm not a rigger, so all of this is like, how the hell do we do this? And we're figuring it out as we go. But super happy with all the face stuff and everything seeming to work. So
Yeah.
So let's see. Unpopular opinion. I like using AI voices for the same reasons. I wouldn't even be opposed to it, but I just don't know if they can get the subtlety that we would want. I think if you were doing like an intro where there's like a voiceover telling you a story, I think maybe you could use it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what tools are out there, but the ones we actually do use AI voices a lot, Tran and I, but we don't use them in the actual film. What we do is we feed it the script, and we have it read back the script to us with an AI voice, so we could hear the script being read out loud. So we use it all the time.
Yeah, it's actually like really a common practice. You'll see it like I remember seeing behind the scenes of like Game of Thrones, and they were inside a writing room, and then the cast was there, and of course they have a lot of money, so they can bring the whole cast there and read it, and they actually had an actual reading where the actors were reading their lines, and then you had someone else handling the narration. It's so different just to hear it out loud, especially have it being read well. So we've been doing that for a while. So we've been using we use Well Said, and then I got banned.
Yeah, we got so the problem
So-
with it, it's called Well Said. That's the name of the AI voice thing. The problem with it is, hold on, let me find it. Uh,
it's actually really great, and the voices sound super natural.
yeah,
But it's like so it's usually used. I have the wrong glasses on. I just realized that. It's usually used for like infomercials or like something like that, and they really have strict rules when it comes to what can be said.
so they don't want someone to write hate speech or something with their voices, right? Because they have, let's call them like avatars that they use, and you, if you were to like hear it enough, you'd be like, oh, that's the well said voice of Cameron, or you could see them here, Issa, whatever. So what they're afraid of is that someone's going to go write something nasty and use their voice. However, that's not what we want to do. But in our stories tend to be violent. So as soon as it goes, and then a spear goes through the head, and she falls and she's bleeding on the floor, and
And then she's
it's
screaming,
and
and
she's screaming, and it's reading that out. It's like, whoa, 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 what is going on here? I just don't think Well Said Labs realizes that there's a market in for
for
screenwriters that want to use their product not as an end product, but as a
us to
in
read it,
between. Yeah,
us to read out loud and communicate. And this is really common. Like we are in this writing program, and reading the scripts out loud. Every writer in our group is agrees like this is amazing, this is powerful. And we did talk about well said. We did say that you probably get banned
yeah.
if you do that, unless you have like super wholesome stories or something like that. But you always that's not like realistic or as entertaining, right?
So we had an account, but Tran got banned
Yeah.
because they thought we were doing
No,
some
I tried to
messed up
log
stuff.
in, and I was like, and it wasn't cheap. It was very expensive for us. I remember I chose like the $100 one a month, and I'm like, dang, that's so expensive. And then I got tried to log in, and then I realized, oh, my account is deactivated, and it wouldn't let me activate. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah. So they
yeah,
thought we were psychos.
yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's it. So that's my task. I want to get this all done. The main thing also is just getting the cast the cast recorded. That way I can start editing it together, and then we don't have to hear someone robotic saying it, but hearing the real voices. This is one other thing I'll show you guys, which is cool. It's a continuation of what we were doing last week, but we have some more sound tests here. So I'll play some of these if you guys are interested. I'll make this smaller. But some of the sounds for the hives. So let's listen to it. So this is for like the moth attacks. Can you hear anything?
James says you can't hear it.
Can't hear it? Let's see. Are you sure? Because it starts slow.
You are playing. Is anyone here or not here? He says not hearing. Normally your audio always works.
All right, let's see. Still nothing?
Still nothing. Yeah, everyone's saying they can't
Okay,
hear
so
it.
let me try something else.
Gonna rejoin. I can share my
I have
screen.
a feeling that this is going to do like a double mix here. So let me know if you can hear this. It's going to start lower.
Okay, James said yes. That Bob says he can do. Bob is
This is the moth hive. Okay, cool. So that's the moth hive one. We have this one, which is like an ambiance. For some of the more horror moments, Ethan is on here that is helping us out a lot. We should show some of Ethan's stuff too. Ethan, you should just come be a guest as soon as you've textured some of these things. So Ethan, a good friend and also former Gnomon student, really good artist. We'll have him on and he'll show some of the really crazy yet joyless things this poor man is doing. So we have him doing mops, we have him doing books, we have him
This
doing
stuff is really hard. Like we, if you guys have been following the stream, we kind of broke one of our other artists. He was like, "Yeah, I think I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah, but at least David Kwok was doing like cool stuff. Like Ethan is doing like the most mundane props, and he's doing them so freaking beautifully.
Yeah, it's doing amazing.
Yeah, and I don't say that. I say that like when someone gets like when I was working at Digital Domain. This is a story I always tell the students there. We had this guy who we hired. He'd never worked in the industry before, and we were like, well, what do we give him? And we gave him the lamest task of all time. We gave him a bean, literally a bean, like a single, like pinto bean. You remember, Tran?
I
This
do
was the
remember.
best goddamn bean I've ever seen in my life when this guy turned it in. And everyone was like, Jesus, this is a amazing bean. So then we're like, model a few beans and then the bag of for the beans, because this was for Jack the Giant Slayer or whatever it ended up being called. And it was the best freaking bag and little bunch of beans ever made in CG in the history of the world. And when this guy immediately started rising up really fast in the company, because when you could put a lot of love into a mundane task, you know that this is an artist that cares.
Yeah, well, the thing is too, it's not you can't it's not always just monsters and things like that.
No, it's mostly not.
And it's actually extremely difficult to do some of these things that we're doing here asset wise. It's a huge challenge. Like I have friends that ask me questions about Marvelous that have been working in the industry for a long time. Like they'd be like, Tran, I can't get this to work, to work. And then, that's talking about something that Marvelous is actually very good at. It's super good at clothing. And what we're trying to do is like, we're like making objects.
We're making objects,
And it's so weird.
and Ethan's been doing an amazing job with, again, like he did a mop. He did, what else did he do? A mop, a book,
He did like
a
chair.
bucket, a chair.
Yeah, I thought the mop was quite impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to.
Because they're all made out of
show
fabric.
anything.
Yeah, let me just show it. Let me see if I could pull it up.
So like think about how you would do a mop made out of cloth. So you guys have, for those who are following stream, you've seen some of the building structures and the walls and stuff like that. Just picture what you would do with a mop.
Remember, this is a mop made out of fabric. So let's see.
Yeah. Like how would you go about it?
Oh, and these are awesome. So, okay, so these are a bunch of books. Can you see okay?
I can see it.
Okay, so a bunch of books made out of fabric. So this is all simulated. A bunch of like high school type trophies that would be in Zort's bedroom, the Thread Tempest, because he's the best. So he's the only one that gets a trophy. A mop and a bucket. This is all Marvelous designers. So that's all simulated fabric.
And look
So
at,
that's the mop.
and then the last one, the way it drapes. Did you show the mop?
I don't think I have that one here.
You do. I saw it in your thumbnail.
Oh, there it is.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Looks
just awesome.
Yeah, it looks like there's two variations. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like super cute. I thought it was like Miguel was like, "Do you want to do a mop?" I'm like, I don't want to do a mop. So it seems really hard.
No, but now we
Now we have now we have it.
it's you don't want to do it because it's super hard and it's
Yeah, it's super hard. I didn't see how to do it. I'm like, how are you gonna make a mop?
and there's
out
no
of cloth?
there's no glory in it. Like you're like I did the mop, right? But when you do it well, like we're gonna put that mop on something. It's gonna be in the shot for sure. You know, it's just so beautiful. These guys are gonna be in there. The books are gonna be super prominent, but they're just really nice. Um, so yeah, good job, Ethan.
Professional mop guy.
Professional mop guy.
There he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't can you put the link to your art station so we could put it up so everyone can see it? So all right, so I'm gonna keep playing the music here. So the dark ambience. So remember, this is 80s synth horror, which we're trying to go for. So what this one is compared to the stuff we showed last week is it's not a whole song in itself. It's just these things so I could grab them and start throwing them into the edit and kind of find uh, a vibe there. So it's more about just finding a vibe, and then he's not necessarily sure where I'm gonna put that, but I now have that so I could start editing to our own music. Here's another one. This one's called "Run from Zort." Zort is the Thread Tempest. You can see very 80s, very the high pitched stuff, very John Carpenter's Halloween. So it's pretty cool.
It's
Um,
super cool. I'm always impressed by Dan because um, it's not easy to find someone that can just shift their style. Like I think Miguel and I don't really have like a set style. Like we're always doing the same thing. Like if you look at our body of work, it's always changing up. And then Dan can just seem to do anything.
our style is our lack of style.
Yeah, and he just does it. It's like he doesn't have really limitations on himself as an artist, and he also is super collaborative. Like if we ask him for like, hey, this is what we want, it's just so easy. And it's not easy finding someone that can collaborate like that with you.
Yeah. Okay, one more here. Last one. So the question is, since you've been working on this for a while
I'll
now,
let
what
it
tips?
play, then
Yeah,
you
I'll let it.
answer.
Okay. And there you go. That one's really cool. Yeah, I like that one. Ooh, very heat-esque. That's you're singing to me there, Mr. Bobby. That's what I like to hear. I love heat. So it's one of the best. So yeah, totally. I love that. So it's cool. And again, I don't know where I'm going to necessarily use this, but this is how we work. So this is how we've been working on the Voice in the Hollow and on this, just really having the music set up from the very beginning and editing to our own music instead of to temp tracks. So yeah. So that's what I've been up to. And again, you guys can follow Ethan's work here. That is over here. And I should probably find Sasha's work as well. Let me find it. Yeah, here it is. So Sasha's work is amazing. So definitely check it out.
Yeah,
I'll show some of the stuff real
we're
quick.
very lucky with the talent.
These are all Gnomon students too, which is
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we know like they're gonna do a good job.
yeah.
They've been trained not only to be like really good artists, but also to be very good in production.
But you can see that's a door, one single door. Look at the
What a nice
tables.
presentation.
And this, this is a table. This is not the most exciting thing to be tasked with. Like,
Yeah,
but
but
you
look
look
at
at
it.
this and you're
This
like,
is
wow.
pretty cool though. Like when you look at her her shots of it and how she presented it is very nice. Look at that.
And you can see she did. The only problem with working with Sasha is she always gives us multiple versions, and then we like all of them, and then we don't know which one to use. So you can see that this door is the same door as this one, but they're completely different, and they're both really awesome, which is great because we got both of them, and then we're like, okay, well, I guess we have to use both doors, which is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem. It's actually the greatest thing ever. But I'm just,
Yeah, it's not a problem.
yeah.
I mean, problem.
Well, I'm joking.
Sarcastic.
Yeah, I'm being
Yeah.
sarcastic. The problem is she's too good. So you can see she did 3 variations. It's very, very awesome.
You know, that's the thing. Like, also, I talk about with Miguel, and it's not just talking with Miguel, but like this is an industry thing. Like being able to one interpret concept art is very tricky because sometimes concept art is very vague. So you, in a sense, you do have like texture artists and modelers who can be really, really good. Um, and then you have a second type that is really good, but it can also has design sensibilities, right? So if you just kind of like don't give, they don't have anything to work with, can they make something up? It's very desirable when someone can, right? It makes them like completely stay employed. So,
Yeah. That red door really sings. Very talented. Yes, it's a very beautiful door. Let me answer this question. Since you've been working on this for a while, what's like basically when do you know the project is done? Because you could always add more stuff. I think when the story uh, works is really like once the story works, then it's like we go in and it's like, okay, how can we make each shot look prettier? But you know when look, you're never done. I still look at the voice in the hollow, and there's a bunch of things that are not there that I wish were there that we just didn't have enough time.
I totally agree with that. On the
The
Voice in the Hollow, it was just time. We just
the
got
yeah,
too tired, and
we just needed like 3 more months to get everything that we wanted in there. Like the big thing in the voice in the hollow that is not clear at all is when the sister falls, then they both fall into the hole. The one of the sisters stays up above, and one stays below, and the other one drops. It's not totally clear. Because partially it's not in the edit correctly, but when the dead sister falls, her hands are around the other sister's neck like she's strangling her. She's supposed to react to that really negatively and like kick or not kick, like swing her hand out of the way, and that's what causes her body to move and then the mask to fall on top of her. So it's supposed to be like a dance. That hand looking like it's choking her does not come off. It's in the edit fully. So that's one thing. But things like that, you could always make it better, but you have to let go of it at a certain point.
yeah, we just, it, you know, what would that have taken? We'd have to bring back in maybe performance or have additional animation and just the time. And I remember just thinking like, just not having, you know, how were we going to piece the shots together? Because we had just the way the set was built, right? Like the interior of the hole was a separate set and the exterior of the hole was a separate set. And they really shouldn't have been separate, but they were. Just it was just the way it was constructed. It was too late to go back, and it would
Yeah.
have been months of work. But had the set been built a certain way, things could have been framed differently. And we did have trouble with like just the environment holding up,
Yeah.
and the amount of work that needs.
Question from Netbug: does working with these people change or add to the ideas you originally had? No, the script is all there, so we know exactly what we need
Yeah,
to
so
get built.
story wise, it's just us. Um, yeah, so it doesn't change that at all. Like it doesn't change our art direction. Art direction is we know what we want.
Yeah, the next thing that we're doing is we have to build, and I think we have someone that's going to help us with this, a bunch of cactus because they live in a kind of deserty area. So outside, it's all cactus and succulent plants. Now, that decision is made for two reasons. One, because we rarely see cactus used in that way, and three reasons actually. We wanted peyote to exist in our film.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
story point.
it's a story point because when everything goes to hell, one of the characters questions whether they might have eaten peyote by accident, right? And then number three is because Unreal doesn't do leaves very good, in my opinion. Like it looks fine, but it always has this anti-aliasing issue.
Yeah, it's especially in thin things, right? So we have like a miniature world, and if you know anything with like miniature photography, things go out of focus really fast. And in Unreal with the real time engine, it has like these really weird artifacts going on, and with leaves and twigs, it's just kind of really tricky. I
Yeah.
also think just building a really good leaf, you'd have to make it from scratch. You couldn't use like all the assets from like Megascans if you were doing like a regular story. But as soon as you're just telling like this leaf is as big as Cot's head, does that leaf hold up?
It won't hold up.
It won't hold up, and you'd have to make it, and they're super complex, and that's just one leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it for me. And Tran, do you want to show the awesome stuff you're working on?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me hit save because the moment I share, it could crash.
There's like a crazy layoffs this week, huh? At Blizzard.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people lost their job. It's crazy. They lost their job, and that day Microsoft stock went to all-time high. It's kind of messed up.
It's super messed up.
Yeah. So these are some masks that are going to be worn by some of the Threadlings.
Let me just,
Um,
maybe I'll change.
kind of like in Voice in the Hollow, like this would be like a status symbol in their colony. And the reason why they're owls is because owls eat moths.
Yeah. So if you can't tell, this is totally quilted.
Zoom in, get closer.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail here. So I don't think I showed this at all. So this is I think this is the first preview of it. And then, with the eyes, I made certain decisions. I didn't want to quilt that. I thought it looks much nicer if it was like a hard material. I ended up just modeling this kind of piece and trying to do like, I don't know why I went right to the eye, but I guess I'll talk about the eye.
Because the eye looks awesome.
We tried to do a crystal motif. So if you look closely, you can see that there's a crystal pattern and a crystal pattern here, and another pattern here. I'll just hide that.
And remember, the crystal pattern is because all of them, their heart is made out of a crystal.
Yeah.
But the red crystal is a very important thing for them.
Yeah. So that was the motif, and then because owls can have like not just owls, anything. You have the iris, and then you have the pupil, and then the pupil, of course, would be black. And instead of like trying to do, I don't know, I was just trying to think of creative ways to do it. Like if you look at an iris, sometimes weird images pops up when you're just googling something like.
Yeah. You got to be careful sometimes.
Yeah, let me just put it on the other screen.
That's why I never click on anything on my main monitor right away. I have to always do it on the second one and then introduce it.
Trying to find an eye. Here's one here. Let's pull up and you don't really see this in owl eyes, but more like maybe this one here. So this is not the best example. I just made like artistic interpretations. I forgot how to zoom in. I don't even know how to flip it. Okay.
Isn't it just middle mouse? There you go.
Well, now that I started thinking too hard about it, I can't do it. But yeah, so like if you look at this, like sometimes irises feel like they have like a star pattern. I can see it in here a little bit, right? So I kind of wanted to do something like that. It is more human because when I look at the owl eyes, I didn't really see it, but I didn't look at every single bird eye that I could look at. And I thought that's fine. So just kind of based on this and thinking, oh, there's kind of like a star pattern. And you can see it right here, like these shapes. I don't know how well you can see it, Miguel.
Yeah, I totally see it.
Yeah. I was just like, well, let's try that. And it looked kind of cool, right, at the end. And then the it's really small and it's also really deep. Like I pulled the tube in really long just so that it doesn't catch any light. And so it could be actually really dark. But then, it will look correct as if they're looking out of it. But it won't line up to any kind of eye. It'll just be like sitting on the head. So it's not very functional, but this is just one variation, and I basically just finished texturing it. And there's some couple color variations. So this is what I was thinking, maybe as like the standard one where what everyone's probably wearing. There is a red crystal here. So like what we're trying to do in the design, in the world building, is kind of show how important Zord is. So Zord is the only red crystal, and there's all kinds of little red motifs. We don't want to make it like dominantly red because then it's not special. But just by having this, you kind of get the idea like, wow, Zord is like so important. He's like colored on
Yeah,
the
and they
mask.
kind of,
I'd say.
the people that would wear this, we kind of see them as like the Imperial Guards from Star Wars, like they're right in Tran's shoulder. Uh, point with your left,
Like back there.
yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
higher.
Oh, that red
To the,
guy. Yeah, touching it.
there you
Okay.
go.
So yeah, so it's something like that. So they're special. And that's one color variation. I did do let's see, a version like this where maybe at the end they're in the shot. It's just, we do have an area where I call it the rotunda, and it's resort themed. I don't know if I showed it. Did I show it last week? This
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah, so let me pull that up too. Where there's more like homage to him or like dedication to him and what he means. Miguel's talking about making a statue of Zord, and I'm like,
Well, I don't. Do you know what I actually see is not to build a statue of sort. It's to actually just use the same model, but then do like sub seams so it looks like he's just made out of a lot, like quilted.
no, I think we have to make it metal or something like that. Otherwise, it just looks like Zord. I think you have
Yeah,
to completely change the material.
yeah.
Yeah, or else it looks like, why is there another Zord there that's also made out of cloth? So yeah, so this would be one here. And then I don't know if you like this one more, where it's more desaturated or more red. Do you see the difference? Barely. Yeah, you barely
It's
see
very
it.
subtle, but
There's a blue tone one, where it's more gray, or we go more brown. I guess brown as the base.
I like
Um,
that one. That one's really cool.
okay, I'll save that. I'll load up these other things. I think I have to close.
One day a director's cut. Yes, one day a director's cut of the voice in the hollow.
I definitely have to close this because it's gonna crash. It's too heavy in my graphics card. Okay, and I would launch Unreal, and I'll show you some of the other mask shapes. They're pretty much done. I haven't completely cleaned up the mesh. So the other ones were not quite ready to texture, and I haven't placed like the eyeballs in them. Gonna be using the same eyeballs. Just give it a second. So that one that you just saw was like the first one I built, and then I was like, can we just do one, or do we need variations? So that's the one here. You can see the model. And then these are the other ones. And Miguel says this one's really goofy.
Yeah, that one looks like me.
He's a little bit more quilted too. Like he has more crinkles. And then there's this one here. So all three. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's enough.
Oh, those are cool.
So
Put them straight ahead.
yeah.
They're awesome.
So yeah, this goes with like what I was talking about. I don't remember when, but one of the more recent streams where I was doing the extras, and I felt like we're just going to put masks on a lot of them, right? So they don't feel complete without it. We do have to have extras without mask, I think, just story wise.
Yeah.
Or else it's too obvious that we just didn't want to do facial performance and we just stuck a mask on. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll show where this set is at.
Like one thing I would like to do is like super simple characters, like background characters that we could just auto rig and are just walking around, like that just look like.
Yeah, I was thinking like, what kind of expression do they really need? And then just basically need like a screaming face, like
Yeah.
like when things go down at the end. Of course, something has to end with some kind of bang, right? So maybe like they just they like talk like Muppets, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have seen this. I don't know if you've seen it all together. It's actually completely complete now. With some of these other pieces, like we got these pieces that Rain did, and then Liz textured this, and Sasha textured that.
Which I'd
There's
like
still
to
a
bring
chair.
all three of them. Well, not just the three of them, even Ethan. Like maybe we should just bring all four at the same time.
Yeah, I have to actually assign this one out. So this one, you can see what it looks like when it's not textured. Texturing really makes a huge difference. It's so boring, I guess. I don't know, or not interesting, crappy, or bad. And then here's our hallway again. Maybe I'll make it more dramatic. Kill the lights. One thing I like about the hallway, just seeing this together, I can see like how this can feel like really horror-y.
Show that hallway again. Here, hold on a second. There you go. Show it again. Okay, now we got the music going. Ooh, nice push in, Tran.
The worst at navigating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you could definitely build some horror things in there.
Yeah.
And then when the moths attack that place,
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome.
We just keep that playing. And then Zort's grand room, he gets a special light.
That's gonna have one of the best scenes. Is gonna be inside of that room.
Yeah, we do have a scene taking place from up the stairs, like at the angle I'm at.
Yeah,
And going into this room.
and the ceilings there. So Mayo could walk on the ceiling. So
This piece is
he's
still
the only
textured.
one that could walk on the ceiling. So he'll be up there as they try to sneak into Zort's bedroom.
Yeah.
Zoom into that room again.
This one?
Yeah, the door. Let it sit because it's really. It looks creepy as hell. The music really does do a lot of stuff. Like I'm looking at the door and I'm like, damn, that door. I remember it being this creepy looking, and it's just
Yeah.
the music.
And look at that fire motif.
Boom.
So that's cool. And it feels, I don't know, it feels nice.
So show the.
This one's not done yet. Most of everything's done. So some of these were uncompleted. Like Rain finished that up. And then here is the rotunda. So look how the light is like just really green. It works for me. It feels kind of haunted. And then the rotunda, which has the Zort kind of theme.
Like Alex is on here. Hey, Alex.
Right. So now we have this space.
So this would be where the moths attack. So we have our music for this. And they come in through the top, of course. Chatty's laughing. Hey, you gotta sell it, man. You gotta sell it.
Yeah. You guys are part of the process. You guys see us putting the music together. This is all the stuff that we're thinking. Is it funny? Yeah.
Because now you're like, okay, does this image with this music feel eerie? And it kind of does.
Yeah.
Especially when there are these cute little guys going through this tragedy. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
and then they start swarming in.
I like this rug right here.
Perfect timing. Now you're flying down like a moth.
Definitely. And you can see some downward views.
Brooke, unbelievably blown away each week by the beautiful quality of every aspect of this production. Thank you, Brooke. Brooke helped us on the Ningyo. She built one of the props in the Celis Cavern.
Oh, okay.
Sweet
Awesome.
set, like the touches of blue-green lighting. Thank you, Bobby. And then, but yeah, that's
Yeah, so there's still like a lot to do. You know, one of the things that is completely underestimated all the time in
is the
3D
floor.
in 3D work is the freaking floor. I'm like, I'll say it out loud. Sometimes I'm like, ah, I gotta work on the floor. And if you're not like, if you don't do this, you're not an environment artist in any way. You don't realize how much work floors are. They are so much work.
That's a crazy floor that you have there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was a little bit too busy. And then the rugs here kind of pulled together. So Liz textured this one. This one's also by Sasha, but she didn't make it red. I just opened her file and made it red. And then,
Zoom into to it. So that's all. That's what I like about it is the closer you get, the better it looks.
yeah, it holds up really well. So these all have a lot of textile density. And the thing that we're doing on here is we're just using JPEGs because JPEGs are really small. So one 4K color map, for example, is like 2 MB. And if you're using TIFF, it's like 40 or 32 or something like that. There's actually a set number that is always going to be around. So it keeps everything smaller. So we have nanite, which is amazing for geometry, but that doesn't necessarily work the same when you're dealing with like texture resolution. You do have limits that can really slow the engine down. And you can, again, you can see all this red motif. So Miguel was like saying maybe we put a statue in here. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I don't even know about, I don't want to take away from, because the thing is, if the statue's too big, then you're going to take away from the rotunda.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But
It
I think,
definitely needs banners.
yeah, it definitely needs banners. I thought about putting like railings. I'm so lazy. I don't want to do any railings. So it's like, that's fine. There's no railings. People would just fall on the floor.
Why don't you just grab the mop and duplicate it 30 times?
stick to
Just stick it through the ground.
stick it through the ground, stick the mops up. I do need to do like a runner variation. So there's more for me to build, but I have jumped on to the characters and, you know, I do need to assign workout. So it keeps me really busy. There's like so much to always do. I like how it looks here when it's really dark.
Yeah.
Right. So the low lighting looks interesting. But that's where, again, where this set is at. We still need things. It's right now at the stage of, you know, you just moved into your house and there's no furniture in it. That's where it's at. And then,
And that's the part with the mops, right? It's like, let's put a mop at the end of that corridor. We've all seen that long corridor with nothing but the mop and the be careful you're gonna slip sign, right?
yeah.
Boom, you immediately connected. You're like, oh, I know this space, even though you've never been in this fabricy one. But that kind of stuff, we want to do like a little area, like where do they sit and hang out? Is there a chess table? Is there an area where you would go and read your book? Because we wanted to feel like a real colony.
Yeah, you want to feel lived in. So there's like little things like this, like, oh, I gotta make a floor variation that cuts this off.
The set floor has eyes wide shut vibes. Cool stuff.
That's
Well,
cool.
I'll take that. I actually just saw The Killing this week for the first time, which I had never seen, the Stanley Kubrick movie that inspired the bank robbery in The Dark Knight, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's here. This is a huge amount. We can frame stuff. So what's left? The bedrooms. So the bedroom.
This is our bedroom.
Yeah, there's still more environment stuff. I'm trying to push out the character stuff. And to be honest, I was telling Miguel this, and this is why I started texturing some of the stuff. So like if I minimize this and just load up substance again, You know one thing I like about Unreal? If you minimize Unreal, it stops
Processing.
it stops processing. It stops wearing down your graphics card. It is such an efficient program. It's incredible. There's no other program that's really doing that. It feels just as heavy as Substance. I mean, I really push Substance to an extreme, but you know, the fact that I can minimize it and then it's not taking up my graphics card and then I can load up uh, something else heavy like this is pretty awesome.
Bobby says I have to rewatch Barry Lyndon. So do I. I haven't. You know what? I really want to go back and rewatch all of his movies again. Like I've noticed with Kubrick stuff, every 10 years the movie's a different movie to me, right? When I saw it as a 20-year-old, it was like, oh, let's just watch this and how trippy, and that was it, right? And then you watch it when I'm 30, it's very different. You watch it when I'm 40, and it's very different. So I definitely still in my 40s, but I want to see it. I want to see it again. I think I haven't seen them since I was in my 30s, so I want to see them again and see. Eyes Wide Shut, I have seen. It's one of my favorite movies of his, even though it's underrated, I think. But that whole scene is so creepy in that ceremony, and that's always been a huge influence, even on the Nino, the guys up on the top of the railing, big time inspired by Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
But I want to see Barry Lyndon again. Barry Lyndon is the one that he got the lenses from NASA to shoot it because he wanted to shoot it all with candlelight, which at the time was had never been done.
Yeah, back then the technology was so different. When we first shot the Nino, we had these lights that what do you call them? Tungsten lights.
Yeah, we still
And
have them.
we still have them, but they emit so much heat. So LED lights were not a thing, really. Like you had them, but they were like in your remote or your TV. They weren't strong enough to actually light like an actual set. And so you'd have to get these super powerful lights, like these. We had these 2K lights, but they would be intensely hot. They were so hot that
You could cook a steak on it for
yeah,
sure,
you
like
can
no
actually cook.
question
You
about
can
it.
cook something on it. So I've
Yeah.
been on a set. I remember Miguel was working on a set, Drag Me to Hell, and it was a shoot with a miniature, and they had this really big ass light like this,
That was a 5K.
and it was so cold. It was during the winter. You can just stand next to it and you would warm up. So when we were shooting the Nino, you just like melt. It was
Yeah.
so hot, like and now you know, like the idea of candlelight was not strong enough. Like this is getting into stuff like the sensors and all that stuff, but now it's so
Yeah.
different now, and we don't have like crazy.
Well, they didn't even have sensors back then. This was film.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's so much technically easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to burn up.
Yeah, that's why I always find it funny when people are like nerding out over like, oh, what camera or what lens, and it's like, guys, any camera you use today is better than what they used to film Star Wars. Calm down. Like your Nikon is better. Just calm down. Uh,
You have a question.
did I work with Sam Raimi? I didn't work with him directly, but I worked on Drag Me to Hell. So I had bought the red camera, so we were working on the Nino at the time, and I rented it back. Oh no, that wasn't on the Nino. That
It
was
was on the Green
Green Root Pumpkin.
Yeah.
I rented it back to Tippett Studios to use on all the miniature shots of Drag Me to Hell. But the condition was that I am the camera operator because I wanted to learn. So I got to shoot all the miniatures with that Lauren Peterson built. Lauren Peterson had built the Death Star, the Millennium Falcon. He was the model supervisor at ILM, I think, from day one. So he's like employee number single digit, right?
That's
So
pretty awesome.
yeah. So and he was the coolest guy ever. I still talk to him, not very often, but he's like the coolest guy. He's like my role model. I want to be like him when I get
Yeah,
older.
he was a cool cat.
Yeah, he was a cool cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but yeah, so I worked on the movie, but I didn't get to meet Sam Raimi. I've gone to Sam Raimi's company twice. No, three times. I actually met with them after The Voice in the Hollow and during the Ningyo. So they have seen the films. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, anyway, I guess where was I leaving off? Oh, so I've actually not been texturing as much because we have a team that is really amazing. And those are the people we've been mentioning, Sasha, Liz, Rain, and then now we have
And now Ethan.
Ethan's on board. So what I've been doing is basically just modeling stuff in Marvelous. And I started getting really burnt out because I was just like, uh, everything is Marvelous. And I really like Marvelous, but you just do the same thing no matter how much you like it. You just get tired of it. So, like, I like steak. If I ate steak every day, first, it'd probably be really unhealthy because of the cholesterol. But you would just get tired of it. You know, like I couldn't eat ice cream every day. Um, maybe initially, but after a while, no.
Yeah.
So what I started doing was I just have to texture something, and then it actually is really refreshing to change things up. So I don't know, you know, if anyone in the crowd is like thinking of making their own short, but and you have to do a lot of CG. I assume most of you guys do CG to some extent, right? And our artists like us, you have to vary up your task. Like you have to figure out how not to um, burn out on one thing. So
I'll show something. Let me see if I could do this here. This is
he's going to share his screen.
this was the shoot when I was younger and thinner for Drag Me to Hell. So you could see you're seeing the opposite side of it. But that's this is these are the camera there. Tran is talking about these monstrosities. And you could see this is looking down into the hole that would be the hell pit. So this is the whole hell pit. Let me see if you can see it. So that's it. And
I
it's
think your screen froze for a second.
okay. But you could see that's the view of it. And this is for the shots of her getting pulled into hell at the end of the film. So it's all tapioca and like cereal and aluminum foil and
Yeah, the way he made it was so interesting. It was like aluminum foil stalactites, and then he covered it in tapioca balls and cereal.
yeah, it was super awesome.
So, you know, that's really inspiring. I know Miguel always wants to do things more practical, but I'm like, I don't like, I like the idea of it. I don't like to actually make things in real
Yeah.
life. I like making things in 3D on the computer and have my hands clean.
Yeah.
So, so we don't do that so much.
So okay, so did you want to show anything else on the owl stuff?
Um, Not so much. I mean, maybe I don't remember what I've talked about. Um, the way one of the things that we do, if you take a look at this here, every single one, this is the UVs. They're all cut, so it's actually pretty tedious to UV this. And Ethan's going to be doing. He's doing this. He's already done it, which is pretty impressive. So it's a little bit tedious to lay out all this stuff, and the reason why it's like this is just so that we can quickly color parts of a section really fast. So like if I'll just make a weird color. I don't know what color this is. It's green. Let's see how it looks. It's taking a moment to update. Okay. So say I have this obnoxious color. I can quickly just mask it out and then create a paint layer and just use this like really cool polyfill tool here. And then I can just go, oh, it's something like this. And then you can have levels of gradients.
Yeah, so it kind of sucks initially to set up, but once you do it, it becomes much easier to texture.
It's really fast to texture like this, incredibly fast. So you do save a lot of time.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, it's not fun laying it out, but it makes it really fast to texture. And again, if you had to paint this all by hand, it would be a really, really long texture job.
You'd just be, but you'd be close up trying to mask everything out.
Yeah, it'd take forever.
Yeah.
So you can actually tackle this really fast. The most time consuming thing is really the stitching. So I'll hide the stitches, and they look very different without the stitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the stitch, it really pulls it together.
100%.
Yeah.
It outlines it really nicely.
And you can see like the feather. I don't know if you could tell. There's feathers, right? Obviously. And then feathers here. And then we have like the kind of stem, the crease going through it.
Someone is asking, did you pick the colors like freeform jazz, or was there a certain reference?
It was kind of free form.
Everything is freeform for us.
Yeah, like I think too much planning, it makes it take too long. So everything is just kind of rolling. We're just kind of rolling along with it, and just if we can cut out steps, we'll do that. But anyway, back here, what everyone's been using is this new tool, which wasn't available on when we did cotton mail, texturing wise. It's this one that looks like a pen, and it's pretty awesome. I can basically draw a line, and right now it looks like some kind of weird paintbrush, but you can change the assignment. So I can assign like a stitch material, and you can see we have stitches. It does require some setup, which I wish was automatic because it took a while to figure this out. You have to change the alpha. You gotta set it to follow path, and then you gotta change the spacing so that they look correct. But once you have that set up, you can change it to like any type of stitch that you want. So here, maybe I'll change this to decorative. Like here's one here, and I can change the size. I can exit the tool, right? And go back in there, select it, and then I can say, well, maybe it was too large and change it. And then,
You can pull it too, right?
yeah, you can pull it. I can add points, remove, well, you can remove points. I forgot how to do that. But you can change stuff up. It's super flexible. It's actually really incredible. This is like a really cool, awesome tool. It's not super, it's pretty easy, but it has some parts that are really tricky. Like if the fabric is really lumpy, the stitches can look really weird. You can get disconnected parts. So there is like some trickery to trying to hide that. But it's such a great tool. And we can change the thread thickness. I can also change the spacing.
I mean,
After
without that,
Effects.
you'd have to be projecting that or hand drawing that, which would just be a freaking nightmare.
Yeah. Well, what I did, I made this smart material, and it's not even bulletproof. Let me just, it's freezing. Try to pull it up. And it kind of works, but it doesn't, it's basically, we're probably not going to use it. But it was kind of made to save time. And it's this one here. Where is that?
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
I have some kind of weird mask on it. But basically what I did have a smart material that does auto stitching like this. But you can see it looks like crap. So anyway, this is the tool. And this is the most time consuming part, but it really matters. It makes a huge, huge difference. Let's see. I don't have too much more to show. I can kind of show like things that I'm trying to do to make it save resolution and save time and texturing. Basically, what's going on with these textures are, or the geometry is like, I only export half of it, which is this half. And then the other half is just mirrored over. And they share the same exact UVs. They're just missing a couple parts. I'm keeping the centerpieces because the wrinkles then, this way they sit not mirrored, because mirrored wrinkles don't look natural. I don't know if anyone here has like sculpted like anatomy, like or human figures, and you sculpt the abdomen. If their stomach is too mirrored, especially a sculpted stomach, it looks very strange. It has to be asymmetrical. So that's the one thing that I'm doing here. And then these guys should be ready to go. Like I really want to just finish that. And again, just breaking the monotony of just making marvelous stuff and not doing anything else. I needed to do that because it kind of
do what?
just texturing, doing anything else but working in marvelous. So, I mean, it's a lot of marvelous.
This
Because
is
of it though.
Marvelous the movie.
Yeah. So like, I did, definitely most of it, and we had David Kwok who came in and did the moth, which is really beautiful. Um, he did the texturing of the real moth, and then he did the cloth version, which I think was just very difficult to do and and tiresome. And now we have Ethan jumping in to help us with the marvelous stuff, which is nice because just doing one thing is very exhausting, and I need to figure out how to break it up.
Alex says it's insane that you got to shoot those miniatures. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, I mean, that's he said that a while ago, but I didn't
You
catch
can
it.
see.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see it.
So
But yeah, so Owl. So what's the goal for this week? So we got to start getting some of the cactus going. So let me see.
yeah, another thing is like we having a team speeds us up big time. It's really nice. But you do have to spend time like managing things and step away from the task that you're doing so that you can kick off someone else. And so you do spread yourself out more.
Yeah,
They can't see your screen.
I know. So,
Oh, there's a pure ref. Do you
oh,
want me?
you want to open that up?
Yeah. Give me.
But like these are the ones we're looking at, and the reason in particular is because you can see they look like berries. So we want that homage to the Smurfs where they're out there collecting berries. Um, but we want them to be cactus because we didn't want to touch mushrooms. We just felt that that's like idea number one.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's what do we call that? First ideas.
first
Yeah.
ideas, we usually call it floating jellyfish. That's usually what we call it. And floating jellyfish for us is like when anyone is doing like their first film and they're trying to be artistic, they put floating jellyfish because that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then we've seen a bunch of people's work that has it, and it's usually their first project. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, we were doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I think a lot of our stuff doesn't have too many first ideas, and the reasons is because we probably couldn't execute it or something like that. And we ended up doing something else that we could do, and it made us more original. But it was just that we were limited.
But floating jellyfish, we
So,
definitely tried to do on the green ruby pumpkin.
yeah, I'll pull. Can you maximize my screen?
Yeah.
So this is a pure ref board that Matt Sassani put together, and he's gonna help us with the cactus. And he has some references in here, which is nice. I had a idea of how this, because I just thought I live in California and I see cactuses, so I just thought desert and that it was going to be desert like outside. But he started pulling these references in, and you realize like you don't really have to do it like that. It could still, and he put this together.
Yeah, you put that together.
Yeah, I don't know how he did this, but it's really nice. That's cotton mayo right here. But like, yeah, that's right. Why do we have to do that? I don't know if we can do all this moss again because we talked about the limitations of the leafy things.
But the berryness of it, I like.
Yeah, but the fact that what I like is you don't see the sky. You can really art direct the lighting. Like you can have pockets of light coming in, right? So it almost feels like a little bit like an interior again. And my work in particular shines more in interiors and stuff.
Our lighting in general does.
Yeah, our lighting does. I think it's because we lean towards very stage lighting. So on Voice in the Hollow, if you guys were following the stream, I kept saying my lighting looks like poop, because we had a lot of exterior shots, and I kept saying, oh my god, my lighting looks bad. And I kept saying that like almost every week, I think. And I'm not saying that on the Threadlings so much for multiple reasons. I think Lumen has gotten better, and the other reason is it's also where I'm more comfortable.
Yeah, wait till we go outside. It'll look like poop again.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I think in part it's because of me. I just lean more towards one way. And so these are some of the images that he pulled up. They're really interesting.
Show the lip one. That one
This one's
creeps me
really
out.
weird. Does that look like mouth lipstick to anyone
With
else?
with like nasty pimples.
Yeah, like whiteheads.
Yeah.
And then this one is really strange.
Just a bunch of eyes looking at you.
Yeah, what's really cool about these is that they're no one really I haven't seen this. Like I haven't seen this. I'm sure maybe there's some other film or story that has these weird looking things here that look like eyes with veins, but I don't know of any on the top of my head. So we can really make just a really wild kind of world with something like that. And then they're not too. I don't think that they're as hard to texture because they kind of look like they're painted by hand. Like I almost feel like that could have been marker or,
Yeah.
or something like that. And this just has a fade. I mean, it's a little bit more complex than that, but I don't think texturally it's so weird. It's almost
This is when God was learning how to texture.
yeah, like you're looking at this and it feels like whiteout. I don't know how old you guys are. Do you guys still use whiteout? But like this looks like whiteout to me.
It does, huh?
Yeah. And some of it is more complicated. Like I don't know if we want to do any kind of flowers, but this one's really strange.
That's awesome. Look.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And texturing can really screw you up if you don't realize how long and how much work certain assets take to texture and how difficult they are. And to me, it's like this is simple enough and it's very procedural looking, which kind of really works. So you're not trying to look for something too natural. Like flowers are really tricky.
Netbug says, "I love that you guys always take the complex route. It makes your work interesting and unique. Who out there has a fabric only environment?"
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, now it's not just fabric. It's the outside is going to be all cactus, which is going to be really weird also.
This is really
But
interesting.
thank you, Netbug.
Yeah, thank you. This is really funny. I don't know if we will have anything like that, but they really look like little people with cactus heads. But I'm like excited for this. This is really wild. It just looks like you can.
So those are
Ran-
I think those are the peyote ones.
Yeah. So these are peyote. We have peyote in our
Oh, there
store.
it is. Yeah. So this stuff is like apparently like one of the craziest hallucinogenics out there, and it was used by the native indigenous people to go on what is like a vision quest, like a spiritual journey, and Cot and Mayo are given like the what do I want to call it? I'm just gonna call it the shitty task of going out and collecting berries, which they don't want to do, right? Like if you're going to karate class to get good at karate and they tell you to go out and pick berries, you're gonna be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
But they're assigned to go. Well, Cot's assigned to collect berries, and Mayo just go along with him. And Mayo's the one that does all the work happily, and Cot just sits there complaining. When everything goes to hell in our film, Cot fears that Mayo might have gotten one of these berries
And they ate
again.
it or something
It's
like
implied that this has happened before, that they've eaten peyote by accident, and that some crazy stuff has happened to them.
that.
So
Yeah. We don't go down that route.
we don't go down that route.
Yeah. There's no. I remember there's a Simpsons episode like that where Homer Simpson goes into the desert and he eats some kind of cactus.
Yeah.
He has cactus juice. There's even an episode like that in Avatar: Last Airbender. So you've
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
seen that trope a few times. In Last Airbender, the kids are in the desert and they have nothing to drink, so they drink cactus juice and they all
Yeah.
get messed up.
That's a great episode.
It is a great episode. We don't have that.
We don't go down there, but we
Yeah.
suggest it. What we wanted to do with that is just suggest that they've done other adventures before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
And it really works well with our cactus environment that we want to do.
Yeah.
So
This is nutty right here because this stuff,
This one?
the coral reef stuff.
this one right here.
Yeah, because it just looks like you're underwater, but it's all.
Yeah, but this one's really hard.
No, I know, but
So,
I'm not saying we're gonna do that. But just like I've never seen this stuff.
yeah.
Like how crazy that a desert plant looks so much like a deep water or underwater plant.
It kind of makes sense.
Does it?
To me, it does. In a way, cactus can be so beautiful. I remember looking into them for something. Like this looks like coral reef right here. But yeah, we did something where there was a lot of coral. It was really a lot of work. So I wouldn't want to do something.
We
like
hired a
that.
bunch of Gnomon students for that too, remember?
Yeah, we did.
Donna and who else was it?
Donna, we had. I don't remember. I think we had Rachel.
Yeah, we had Rachel.
Raywin.
Raywin and Donna.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to do more things like that are strange, like this one or this one.
Look at the Darth Maul one. Go up to the top.
Where's the Darth? This one?
Yeah, zoom into that. It's like total Darth Maul.
There's this one. I don't even know how to explain what that looks like. Or like these ones here. Yeah, so
that's the peyote. So it blossoms, I guess. It turns into a little flower. That's how it's ready.
Yeah. So as far as like how we're gonna go about this, I mean, the ideal thing is like to try to get cactus and scan it, and then work from there, maybe.
This is kind of cool. Sorry to interrupt, but just you could see Matt put this door that Sasha textured next to some of these cactus because it looks like they kind of feel like they're in the same world.
Yeah.
The color palettes and everything.
Yeah, it's like
patterns.
Some kind of happy accident, I guess.
Chatty says broccoli cactus.
Broccoli cactus. Yeah. So we will have a cacti world, which is not as common. You know, like when you think fantasy, I think you go more towards like
the moss and well, it makes sense because all of that would be like the old stories would be told in Europe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, fantasy stories. I guess we're more used to like Western fantasy. But I think the reason why we're not doing it is because it's too difficult. And so we're just doing cactus. So that's what I mean. Like we don't do things that would be more expected because we can't. And so we just come up with no solution. You're like round succulent things easier.
Yeah, so they're like, wow, you guys come up with such original stuff, and it's like, it's just because we can't do the other one.
Yeah, because it's literally because if it's a flower or a leaf or a blade of grass, at the moment it goes out of focus, it's gonna have really nasty artifacting. So we're like, let's make it fat.
Yeah, but then once we're done, we'll make it sound like this was all because we have creative visionaries.
We're not,
and it's really like, that's too hard to do. Let's just do a succulent.
Yeah, let's do a succulent. When it goes out of focus, it works well. Great.
It's a sphere.
Yeah, it's like that's all our stuff. I don't think the marvelous stuff is where didn't quite work. What it was is that Miguel wanted to do knitting, and I'm like, I don't know how to do knit. Like
I wanted it to be all crochet.
Yeah, and I'm talking like it's like gigantic. It's not like human scale, and I'm like, I can't do it. And then we end up doing it marvelous.
Yeah, I still get sad whenever I see crochet because I still want some crochet.
Yeah, but I think in some ways maybe I'm just trying to justify it, I guess, that it still looks original.
It does.
Because no one has thought of something that's stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. We'll have more updates soon. Well, next week, of course, but then we're going to do the recording of the voices, which is going to be cool. We are going to try to document that and show how it was done because you'd be surprised. You know, casting is one of those things that you just think they just read the lines, but when you hear all the audition tapes that were not used,
yeah, well, you can't play them, but
you can't play them because you don't want to be insulting to the person who was not good. But
there's some of them are so
terrifying that it makes you question everything. You're like, oh my God, maybe this is not going to work at all.
Yeah, maybe this is a bad idea.
This is a bad idea. And then when you finally get that good voice, you're like, oh my God, they got it. They got it. This is good. So
yeah.
So we want to show like the progress and show how we capture the voices. And then, you know, the next thing that I really want to do is have the voices coming out of these characters. So that's the next thing for me. The moment we're done with the voices is just having them say something super simple, so we could hear it coming out of them and see if it sounds natural. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And then, yeah, for me, I'm going to wrap up the mask. Like, I give myself deadlines, and then I got to work on, I think I have momentary jump back environments so I can kick everyone off and keep the team going.
have you guys seen the nature in Scavenger's Reign? No, I have not. What is Scavenger's Reign?
I think
Is
I've
that a
seen, it's a
game?
short, I think. I think I saw it years ago. It's actually really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think so.
Tran is looking.
Yeah, I've actually seen this. Have I seen this? You know what? I haven't seen this one. I actually seen one. It's kind of similar.
It's got that old school 70s sci-fi, 60s, 70s sci-fi,
Yeah, it's actually,
like book cover look,
it's got a lot of views.
like Mobius look.
Yeah, it looks really beautiful.
Oh, that's cool. Let's take a look at it after.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And
We'll be back next week.
yeah, a big thanks to Dell for sponsoring this project and helping us personally on this project as well. And Alex Alvarez and Gnomon for letting this be possible. And for all you guys tuning in, yeah, we appreciate it. And the participation, we love hearing you guys, comment on the music and the designs and picking your favorite colors. That we like all that stuff. So it's
Thank
cool.
you so much. Yeah. Thanks for following us.
Yeah, and we're out of here. So thanks to James as well for being the guy behind the guy.
I have seen Scavenger's Ring.
You
I
have?
saw this short a few years ago, and I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah, it looks.
And
looks
Chatty
beautiful.
said that it became a series.
Cool. We gotta watch it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you. Let's see. We have last. Thanks, Bobby, Ruben, Ted, Netbug, Chatty on Fire, Ty.
And Ethan, if he's still there.
Ethan left a while ago.
Okay, Ethan's like, I'm dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. We'll see you
Bye, everyone.
later.